Welcome back to Horse Part 2. We are picking up where we left off with the Protestant Reformation.
If you missed it in Part 1, I have an HO because I'm scoring myself honestly, and Mr. Guilford has an H because he's asking me hard questions, and I'm asking easy questions.
That's not true. It's because I know all of this stuff extremely well.
That's also true. All right, so the next question. Did we already ask? What did we end at?
I think we ended
you're asking
the
me.
sale of indulgences. So what factors helped Luther to spread his influence and avoid being executed for heresy?
So a couple factors here. One, the printing press. Again, the Twitter of the day. It got his message out there widespread. But second thing was the fact that Germany, where he was very fragmented into a lot of different principalities. And some of these princes liked the ideas of Luther, and basically they served as kind of havens for him so that he wouldn't just be like swept up by the Catholic Church and put to death. So he was kind of able to hide out in these places, so to speak. But they also adopted Lutheranism in many of these places. So Luther's ideas kind of have a place where they catch on, and they catch on very early. The Catholic Church isn't able necessarily to just say, "Hey, Holy Roman Emperor, go capture him. Let's burn him at the stake." Instead, Luther has ideas that people tend to agree with. Let's see. What are the main beliefs of Calvinism?
Okay, so Calvinism is the other main branch of Protestantism besides Lutheranism. And Calvin differs with Luther on a couple issues. The main one is that Calvin believes in predestination. And this means that everybody is predestined either to be saved or not to be saved. And the idea here is that God, because he knows everything, knows at the moment that a human being is born whether that person will be saved or not saved. And so this means that there's nothing that an individual can do during his lifetime to change his or her ultimate fate. But Calvin does believe that you can kind of figure out over the course of your lifetime whether you're going to heaven or hell based on how you act. So if you act very well, if you act like a very good person for your whole life and contribute to the community and go to church and behave like a good Christian, then you can be pretty sure you're going to heaven. But if you don't, or if you're not part of the correct church, or if you mess up big time, then you're probably not going to heaven. Besides this, Calvin also criticized the Catholic idea of transubstantiation. In Catholicism, they believed that the Eucharist literally transformed into the flesh and blood of Christ in its substance. And Calvin argued that it did not transform, but rather that Christ was present spiritually rather than physically in the sacrament of communion. Those are two big ones. I think that's plenty.
I mean, I would go for a third, but no, it's fine. All right, we'll move on for sake of time. You need to find a couple more guys.
All right, so why was Anglicanism founded?
Ooh, Anglicanism. Well, do you want the reason the king got mad, or do you really want the dirty details of probably why he did it and took the opportunity he did?
Let's hear the fun version.
Let's hear the fun version. Well, Henry VIII is a guy who ends up married 6 times. King of England. First wife, divorced his first wife. Second wife, beheaded. Third wife died. Divorced his 4th wife. Had his 5th wife beheaded. And his 6th wife survived. But the problem was the Catholic Church did not approve of divorce. And they would not grant Henry VIII, King of England, a divorce. He asked the Pope to, and the Pope said, "No way, you're not getting one. This is like a very important sacrament of marriage. You can't get divorced. That's something that we can't do." And so Henry VIII basically just got really upset about it and decided that he needed to break away from the Catholic Church and form his own church. And so that's what he did. He took all the lands of the Catholic Church in England and made them Anglican. Or that made them part of the Church of England, which at first really didn't have many differences at all from the Catholic Church, except that Henry could get divorced. But over time has changed and changed away. Mm-hmm. One of the benefits, of course, and might have been some underlying reasons why he broke away, was that if you if you own all the land, the church land, you can therefore tax all the church land and make more money for yourself and gain more power in England.
Yeah, sweet.
So that's it. Yeah, Henry VIII, man, 6 wives. That was the last one on that page. Oh, we're to the Catholic Reformation.
All right.
So we're going to tie it up here. So what was the Catholic response to the Reformation? And I want full details here. Don't leave anything out.
Full details.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so, I mean, my mind's just jumping straight to the Council of Trent. Do you want stuff before the Council of Trent?
You can, hey, whatever order you want.
Well, so one of the main things that they do to respond to Protestantism is they kind of adopt and further the Jesuit order, also known as the Society of Jesus. So this was started up by Ignatius of Loyola, and he basically is taken in by the Catholic Church, and these guys become almost like the spiritual soldiers of Catholicism. They go out, they educate priests, they use education to spread Catholic ideas, and it's a way of like pushing back against the spread of Protestantism. On top of that, what else? Oh, they undertake a reform of the papacy because a lot of Protestants are criticizing the Pope and the way the Pope lives as one of the major things that they're upset about against Catholicism. And then there's also the Council of Trent, where they reaffirm certain ideas and kind of modify other ideas that they think should be changed on the basis of Christian humanism or on the basis of Protestant criticism. Did I leave anything out?
I would have to say you have to take an O for that, because you also did not mention they condemned some Protestant beliefs, for example, sola fide. They condemned the idea of predestination. You mentioned they reaffirmed Catholic beliefs, so I give you that.
Okay.
And then the other thing is they outlawed the sale of indulgences, even though they did continue the practice of indulgences through fasting or what have you. But also I need to make it even because I'm losing.
Yeah, well that's fine. That's some good stuff. So not only do they clarify their stance, but they also say exactly what they disagree with about Protestantism.
Exactly. And guys, keep in mind that the Council of Trent happens over 18 years while we still have Protestantism spreading and basically warfare throughout Europe too.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going to get the rest of my letters, by the way.
All right, your turn.
What's next?
Let's see. Yeah, because I just missed that one.
Well, we've already identified those, so we can...
Okay,
we can move on
to what were the main causes of the wars from 1546 to 1648?
Well, probably the Protestant Reformation, breaking up the Catholic Church. I would say that's the big one. We also see in Germany, for example, principalities fighting each other based on whether or not they're Lutheran or Catholic. We see it within France, Calvinists fighting Catholics within England, people who are loyal to the Church of England fighting against people who are loyal to the Pope in Rome. So really it's this kind of, depending on where you are, whether or not you went the Protestant route or the Catholic route, they try to fight each other to force one upon the other, basically.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
I would say that on top of that, it's also, like these wars start out because of religion, but they are also fought between the major powers of France and Spain for political reasons. So France and Spain are both primarily Catholic countries, but they fight each other in these wars of religion, even though they agree on religious stuff. So France actually helps out Protestants just so they can beat up on Spain. So
I guess I have to take an R if we're going to be fair here.
That's fine.
Okay.
But so the wars of religion are both about religion and also the political struggle between France and Spain, both Catholic powers.
What were the causes and effects of the Schmalkaldic War?
The Schmalkaldic War, that was basically just a conflict between the Holy Roman Emperor and the Lutheran princes who lived in the Holy Roman Empire. So it's almost like a civil war between the northern Lutheran princes and the southern princes who were led by the emperor. And basically both sides distrust each other, and they each think that the other one is going to attack and try and wipe them out. So the Lutherans are worried the Catholics are going to invade them. The Catholics are worried that the Lutherans are going to fight some kind of like holy war, so they both build up big armies. And then the Lutherans actually are the ones who strike first. They think, look, we're outnumbered by the Catholics, so we better go on the offensive And that starts the war, but eventually the Lutherans are defeated and the Peace of Augsburg is signed in 1555.
Yeah. All right, very nice.
Next we've got what happened in England when Mary I took the throne in 1553.
Yes, Mary I. Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Right. So Mary I comes to the throne, and she is Catholic, and so it's kind of through a series of events, she rises to the throne when there's no male heir, and returns England to Catholicism for a time. She even marries the King of Spain, Philip the Second. She marries Philip II, but she dies early. There's kind of fights going on in Europe surrounding whether or not Protestants or Catholics should be in charge, as Mary, this Catholic queen, is oppressing Protestants. Ultimately, Mary is dethroned, and Elizabeth I, a Protestant, comes to power and reestablishes the Anglican Church. Mm-hmm. Am I good there?
Yeah.
I missed some stuff.
She's dethroned because she dies.
Yeah, she dies.
English history would be really
Mary
different.
I died. And so Elizabeth I rises to the throne.
Yeah, but I think that's solid.
Okay, good, because I can't afford any more letters.
Yeah. We only got 2 more. So
all right, what were the causes and effects of the French Civil War?
Okay, causes and effects of the French Civil War. Basically, France remains a primarily Catholic country, and the king and some of the most important nobles are Catholic. But Calvinism starts to spread over into France from Switzerland, where it started. And this is because of the printing press, and Calvinists are spreading Protestant literature all throughout France. And so by around 1560, France has a really big Calvinist minority. And basically, they don't really trust each other. They're worried that there's going to be war like there is in Germany and up in England also. And so there's tension building. And all of this breaks out into war when it is discovered that the Protestants, aka the Calvinists, actually have a plot to kidnap the king and put one of their own, a Calvinist, on the throne of France. And this really upsets people for a lot of reasons. And there is almost 30 years of war in France up until sometime in the 1590s.
But not the 30 Years' War.
No, there's 30 years of war, and then after that, a little bit later, there's another 30 years of war. That's why it's called an era of religious war, is because it lasts a long time. But it ends when Henry IV takes the throne. He's actually a Protestant, but he converts to Catholicism, basically to win over the rest of the French population, and then he passes the Edict of Nantes, which is important because it grants religious toleration to Christians of various denominations within France.
All right, very nice.
And the last question is, what were the causes and effects of the 30 Years' War?
Ah, yes, these wars, they get me. You know, he did this video for you. I just want to throw out there. And he basically studied this all throughout grad school?
Yeah.
College?
Yeah, you know, the Reformation was a big part
I have to soften the loss that's about to come.
It's okay.
But I will say that the 30 Years' War was caused with the Holy Roman Emperor tried once again to restore the Holy Roman Empire, which was neither Holy nor Roman nor an empire, back to Catholicism one last time. And basically what we see is war break out in Central Europe, in Germany. Eventually it brings in kind of everybody in Europe into this war. The results or the effects of the war is that he doesn't bring Catholicism back. He doesn't force Catholicism on anyone. It's not very successful. We see kind of minor changes, perhaps. But ultimately, it's ended with the Peace of Westphalia, which establishes religious tolerance throughout the Holy Roman Empire, and for the most part, eliminates the last powerful anything in the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Kind of ceases to exist.
Yeah, they stick around in name, but in terms of having actual power, they're done. Now it's just little princes in the Holy Roman Empire that still have power. Princes in places like Brandenburg and Austria. Yeah, that's solid. One last thing is the Peace of Westphalia also makes France really strong, and Spain is on the way down after the 30 Years' War. But I don't think you need to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I lost, which is only fair since I won the last. But you don't want to lose by not studying.
No.
So study for your exam. Be ready for your exam. And we'll all forget this whole thing ever happened. But let us know if you have any other questions.
Sounds good.
You can ask us. That's it. Right?
Yeah, we'll tell you the answer, even though we already told you all the answers just now.
Yeah, watch some more of our videos. And
all right.
Good luck. Right?
Yeah, good luck.